I know what I am. I'm an artist. Art is my life. It's become my very being, my soul, my bread, my water, my air, everything, you know? And I couldn't deny it. To deny being an artist was to deny myself. My name is Alexandra Pandolas, and I am a painter, sculptor, and 27 years old. My nationality is Costa Rican, Greek, Irish, French, Canadian, and I'm from the Bronx, New York. This time in my life, I imbuke a very powerful and overwhelming sense of energy. When you walk into a room that's flooded with light, and all of a sudden somebody turns off the light and it's pitch black, how do you feel? You feel completely overwhelmed and completely swallowed up by the darkness. You feel like you're floating. And then you get lost in your head and you get lost in your thoughts. And that's what I want people to feel like. When they look at it firsthand, it's like, whoa. And then they stare at it for a minute or two, and then they start to connect with it. Once they connect with it, then they start going through their thought processes and they start to get flashbacks. And it's the same thing as drifting in space and almost meditating. It's the type of energy that I want people to pick up on when they look at my pieces. I like to think of the way that I view the world is the way that I view space and the universe. When you're out in a field and it's at night and you happen to look up and you're just completely overwhelmed by the amount of stars, and the universe almost looks like a black palette. You start to see these different, I guess, horizons and vortexes. And I think that's the way that I view the world, is that it's constantly moving, constantly changing, constantly evolving. I'm very gypsy-like in my personality. I don't sit still. I don't stay in the same place more than once. I don't cling on to materialistic things. I get rid of them as much as I can. Carry very light, so you can travel light. You know, you never look back. You always look forward. And it's the same thing with the artwork. Like, you know, my concept of the world is always changing, always evolving. So I don't like to cling on to things that were of the past, because in a way it's like de-evolutionizing yourself. I want to constantly be evolving. So I'll leave it behind and I'll move on to another blank slate where I can start to grow and grow and grow. Then leave that behind. Then move on to the next slate and grow and grow and grow. My viewpoint never stays the same, meaning the style, the genre, it never stays the same. It'll stay the same in the sense of it's realistic, but the topic and the subject is always, always changing. I think it's important as an artist to be contemporaries and to be as modern as much as possible, not to keep stuck in this one mindset that the world is this beautiful utopia. No, it can be a horrid place to live in, or it can be a utopia sometimes, and that's how I see it. And I have a profound obsession with hyper-realism. I try my best and I study it as much as I can, because that's a goal in mind that I want to reach as an artist, as a professional artist, is to become a hyper-realistic painter. Hyper-realism is a portrait that touches as close to reality as it possibly can, to the point that the picture doesn't look like a picture. It's almost, you can reach out and touch it. It's like an artist captures a moment where somebody's throwing a glass of water and the droplets are stopping in mid-air. When the viewer is looking at the painting, they almost feel like the water's going to hit them at some point. They have a fear to approach the painting, because it captures a moment that's so sharp that you would think a photographer took the picture, but it's not. It's all done by hand, and it's incredible, the mastering of such a style. But when you're able to capture a moment in time, and it doesn't necessarily have to be dramatic where the viewer can read it immediately. I think the most successful way of painting is to capture a moment where the viewer starts to question. The viewer starts to ponder and say, well, I wonder what she's feeling, I wonder what she's thinking, I wonder, does this person feel like this, does the person feel like that? Well, what if it's about A, what if it's about B, or maybe they're trying to evoke C, and I think that's the most successful part in a painter's painting. I'm like schizophrenic when it comes to my art, you know? It's constantly, it's like red, then blue, and hot and cold. It's like a roller coaster ride, you know what I mean? But it makes a great artist though. Like, you gotta be a little bit in the head, you know what I mean? The more you lose reality, I think the better you express reality.